Good evening, everybody. I will, we'll get going here. We have a statutory planning meeting before the regular council meeting, and then within the council meeting, we have a closed session. So start the statutory planning meeting. I'll call it to order at 5:30 p.m., September 18th, and ask if there are any amendments to the agenda.
Seeing no ones, I have none. Thank you.
A motion that the agenda for the statutory public meeting of September 18th, 2024 be approved as presented. Moved by Councillor Timpson, seconded by Councillor Bowen. All in favor? Carried. Thank you. Declarations of pecuniary interest.
Seeing no ones, I have none. Thank you.
Application, staff report 400 Highway 72, official plan amendment number OP 03 2024, and zoning bylaw amendment number Z09 2024. The applicant is Dale Ann Brinkman. This public meeting is being held pursuant to section 17, 22, and 34 of the Planning Act, RSO 1990, chapter P13 as amended. The subject property is municipally known as 400 Highway 72. The subject property is currently developed with 2 detached dwellings. One of the detached dwellings contains 2 dwelling units. The owner is proposing 2 additional dwelling units, each 324 square feet within the dwelling that contains the existing 2 dwelling units. The planning coordinator will confirm how notice was served to advertise the public meeting.
Through Mayor Lawrence, notice was circulated to internal staff and external bodies by email. Notice was advertised in the Sioux Bulletin and on municipal website and social media, and sent by mail to various agencies and properties within 120 meters of the subject lands. Signs were also posted on the subject property.
Yeah. The planning coordinator will provide a summary of the applications.
Through Mayor Lawrence, an official plan amendment and a zoning bylaw amendment application has been submitted by Deland Brinkman for the subject property municipally known as 400 Highway 72. The purpose and intent of the application is to permit a total of 4 dwelling units in an existing single detached dwelling. The existing dwelling contains 2 dwelling units, one on the main floor and one in the basement. The owner is proposing 2 additional dwelling units by converting 2 garage stores into 2 dwelling units with a size of 30 square meters each. The subject property is designated as residential shoreline and zoned as residential shoreline in the municipal official plan and zoning bylaw respectively. A dwelling containing 4 dwelling units is not permitted in the residential shoreline designation or residential shoreline zone. In order to permit 4 dwelling units within the detached dwelling, an official plan amendment and zoning bylaw amendment is required. The zoning bylaw amendment will establish a site-specific zone that will recognize a total of 5 dwellings on the property, given that a separate existing detached dwelling exists near the shoreline of the property. The application is reviewed in relation to the 2020 provincial policy statement. There is an updated 2024 provincial planning statement, but does not take effect until the end of October. The subject property is located within the urban Sioux local settlement area within the municipality. The provincial policy statement directs that settlement area shall be the focus of growth and development. The provincial policy statement promotes intensification and compact form as appropriate development standards within the settlement areas. The proposed use is permitted within a settlement area under the provincial policy statement. The provincial policy statement recommends municipal water and sewage as a preferred form of services for development within settlement areas. The property owner is proposing to connect to municipal services prior to the proposed development. The provincial policy statement directs that development occurs away from hazard lands, including floodplains. The subject land is located along the shoreline of Pelican Lake, which is designated as a floodplain to an elevation of 359 meters above sea level. Although an elevation survey was not provided, the buildings on the subject property are existing, and the proposed development is adequately set back from the shoreline. The proposed development is consistent with the provincial policy statement. The subject property is located within the urban Sioux local settlement area, one of the settlement areas within the municipality under the official plan. Urban Sioux local is considered the primary settlement area and as such should be the focus of growth and development in the municipality. The subject property is designated as residential shoreline in the official plan. The official plan does not include specific policies that apply to shoreline properties within the settlement area. Multi-residential development is not permitted in the residential shoreline designation. Considering that the subject property is located within the settlement area and is proposed to be serviced by municipal water and sewage, the additional dwelling units can be supported. However, an official plan amendment is required. The proposed development meets the intent of the official plan. The subject property is zoned as residential shoreline. A dwelling containing 4 dwelling units is not a permitted use in this zone. The proposed additional dwelling units with the proposed development will add 2 additional dwelling units to the existing single detached home, and this is compatible with surrounding land uses and do not change the built form of the subject property. The subject property is a legal non-conforming property that does not meet the minimum lot area, interior side yard, and lot frontage requirements. The owner has demonstrated that the proposed development will meet the minimum parking requirements as set out in the zoning bylaw.
Thank you. Planning coordinator will read out any correspondence received from government agencies and municipal staff.
Premier Lawrence, a letter was received from MTO, and I'm only going to read the parts that are relevant. So Highway 72 is designated as a Kent highway for highway access management purposes. The highway access management policy sets out the requirement a property must meet to be eligible for a permitted entrance. With this change on the property to 5 units, the property will remain as residential. If another unit is added, it will become commercial, and the ministry will not support that at this time. In accordance with the Public Transportation and Highway Improvement Act, entrance permits are required for any entrance onto a provincial highway. Any change of property ownership, property description, entrance or land use, or of entrance construction requires a new entrance permit. Currently, the ministry does not have a valid entrance permit at this location under the current property owner's name. An entrance permit application is required. Entrance permits are granted exclusively to the property owner listed at the time of application and cannot be transferred. No additional entrances will be permitted at this location. MTO has no objection to the proposed bylaw amendment or official plan amendment of the residential parcel, providing compliance with the Public Transportation and Highway Improvement Act and MTO highway access management policies. MTO concludes that the granting of this request would not have any adverse effect on highway operations. Therefore, MTO has no objections to the additional 2 units. Ministry building and land use permits are required for any development or construction occurring within 45 meters of the property limit of a highway and within 180 meters of the center point of a public road intersection with Highway 72. All permits are required prior to any development or construction taking place. MTO permits are in addition to municipal permit requirement. If the footprint of the building is not changing when adding the 2 additional units, a building and land use permit will not be required.
Further on correspondence from government agencies
No, that's it.
and municipal staff.
No question.
Good. The planning coordinator will read out any correspondence received from members of the public.
Premier Lawrence, comments were received from Bill Bertrand on a phone call on 10th September 2024, and they were transcribed as followed. This is a quiet neighborhood, and it is desirable to keep it as such. If these amendments are approved, it will result in increased traffic, and the neighborhood will no longer be quiet. The existing building on the lake is illegal, and as a result, should be demolished. The new development will contribute to the pollution of the lake. And an email was received from Gary Ratai on September 13, 2024. I'm writing to express my strong objection to the proposed rezoning application for the property located on 400 Highway 72. Having lived peacefully and quietly adjacent to this property for over 50 years, I'm deeply concerned about the implications of rezoning this area to allow multi-residential development. My concerns regarding this proposal are as follows. 1, impact on local infrastructure. The existing infrastructure may not be equipped to handle the demands of a multi-residential development. Increased traffic and strain on utilities and other service impact are likely consequences that could degrade the quality of life in our neighborhood. 2, environmental and aesthetic concerns. The proposed development could significantly disrupt the local environment and alter the aesthetic character of our community. Increased traffic, noise, and loss of green space could severely impact the tranquility and beauty of the area. 3, property values. The introduction of multi-residential units could substantially degrade property values in the immediate area. The change from a residential to a multi-residential development may make the neighborhood less attractive to single-family home buyers, thereby affecting surrounding property values negatively. 4, community input and representation. It is vital that the concerns of long-standing residents like myself are given due consideration. The potential rezoning should not proceed without thorough community consultation to ensure it aligns with the interests and needs of the existing residents. 5, future development and zoning implications. Approving this rezoning could set a dangerous precedent, allowing further multi-unit developments without additional approvals. This could lead to increased density and further degradation of the residential character of our neighborhood. Additionally, I have concerns regarding the legality of a cabin located on the Lakeshore Drive road allowance. To my knowledge, there is a 66-foot buffer required from the high water mark, and it appears this cabin may not comply with this requirement. I'm also concerned about how sewage is disposed of for this cabin, as there seems to be no visible septic system. Proper sewage disposal is essential for environmental protection and public health. Given my long-standing connection to this area and the potential negative impacts of this rezoning, I urge you to reject the application and maintain the current zoning regulations. It is crucial to preserve the character and stability of our community. Thank you for your consideration. Thank you for considering my objections. I look forward to your response and hope my concerns will be taken into account during the decision-making process. And comments were also received from Clara Young on a phone call on September 17, 2024, and they're as follows. The property subject to the application is a lakeshore property, and lakeshore properties are not meant for rental multi-residential development. This development will result in an increase in traffic in the neighborhood. This property will set an undesirable precedent for other neighbors to also convert their lakeshore properties in the neighborhood into small multi-unit rental units. That's everything.
Thank you. The applicant or a representative is invited to speak to the applications. Does the applicant or representative wish to speak? Nope, thank you.
It's just for the people who voted.
Oh, the applicant.
Okay.
Your turn will come. Right now, we're questions from members of council. Councilor Van Breder.
I just have one quick question, just like on the summary of the actual report, so it does mention multi-unit residential development is not permitted within the shoreline designation and zoning. However, the subject property is located within a settlement area where additional units are encouraged. So I'm getting conflicting. Is it allowed or is it kind of not allowed? What's
Sure, Mayor Lawrence. At the time of the drafting of our current official plan and zoning bylaws, there were some restrictions on development within lakeshore areas, even within settlement areas. But then with the current provincial policy statement that we have and the Planning Act, regardless, if a property is shoreline or within, the urban areas, multi-residential uses are permitted.
The provincial policies trump our current official plan.
Mayor Lawrence, yes, that's correct.
Yes.
What's the actual definition of multi-residential for?
Mayor Lawrence, a multi-residential development is any development that is not a single detached family home or a single family home. Yeah, more than one.
Also says in the report that these units will be hooked up to municipal water and sewage. Is that correct?
Yeah, through Mayor Lawrence, yes, the owner proposed to tie into municipal water and sewage as there are municipal water and sewage lines running closer to the property.
Question for me, the flooding 2 years ago, what elevation, what's the relative elevation of this proposed site and the high floodwater?
Through Mayor Lawrence, an elevation survey was not provided as part of the application package. But going by what we have in our zoning bylaw and provincial guidelines, it's adequately set back from the shoreline.
Setback horizontally, I'm thinking about the vertical, the actual elevation.
Through Mayor Lawrence, without an elevation survey, we can state for a fact.
Sure. Council, anything further? Right. Questions from members of the public. Members of the public are invited to speak to the application. The public can ask questions of clarification or seek background information, speak in support of the application, or speak in opposition to the application. All questions will be directed through the chair. It is requested that only one question be asked at a time. Please identify yourself before you ask your question so that you can be properly recorded in the minutes of the public meeting. Are there any members of the public who wish to speak? Please come forward and take the mic. Could you help with the microphone? Thank you. Could you have a seat there and once you're speaking into the mic, then you'll be recorded.
Okay, I live,
You're on, just state your name and then,
in Gary Rattay. I live adjacent to this property. I've lived here, on that property for over 50 years. Person that's applied for this rezoning is a newcomer to the area. And, I fear that if it becomes a multi-unit development, you could even have maybe trailers. This is going to set a precedent for the whole shoreline that's going along the lake. It's supposed to be residential. And also that cabin that she wants to convert to rent out is built on 66-foot shoreline road lines. And that cabin should not even be on that property because it's against the law. And even if she owned that shoreline, I bought my shoreline about 25 years ago. And when I bought it, they said I could not put a building on that shoreline. And this is supposedly a cabin that she's going to rent out. There is no visible sewage disposable from that cabin, even though she says she's going to hook up to the town water line. She would have to spend much money because that cabin is at a much lower elevation than her house where she lives in now. So she would have to spend money on a grinder pump, which is big money. You people all know about it. And so at this time, the cabin being illegal should not be on that property. So I would say that that alone should not be passed. And I have been getting water from the lake since I lived on that property from 50 years ago. And I have from the zoning that was passed many, many years ago, that I have a waterfront lot to get my water out of the lake. Now, with increased residents, from one person living on that property now, she's proposing 5 units, which could be families. That would, even if you had one person living in each one of those units, that would be a 500% increase in the population and pollution to the lake, which would affect my water line because people would be going swimming in there. And in wintertime, there would be snowmobiles running over my water line, affecting my water. So I would have you consider, my concerns. Like I say, the whole shoreline in 2011, it was zoned to be lakeshore residential, not property for rental, because this is what's going to become of it. What is she going to put more trailers on there? Once you open the door, what's to say more people down the shoreline will apply for the same zoning? What's going to become of the shoreline? It's supposed to be, pristine property. It just, I can't see this going forward. Any questions?
No, do you have any questions?
Well, I did send, I didn't know where to send the email. He read the email, so I would like to enter that in record of my concerns. And I sent it to 3 counselors that I know. I don't know Joyce or Corey, if you got a copy of that.
So everything you sent will be on the record, including what you said tonight.
Okay, so I don't know who makes the decision, but hope my rebuttal for this application is taken into account.
Thank you very much.
It's going to affect me more than it's going to affect her. Because she's all herself right now. Like I say, it will increase the traffic in the area, the noise, and my lot is, most of the lot is heavily bushed. And once you get more people living there, somebody going by maybe throws a cigarette in, there goes the bush, everything will be burnt. And affecting neighbors. My neighbor on the other side, Clara Young, sent in a verbal complaint of the same, more or less the same concerns, other than the water line. But Bill Bertrand, sitting back here, has concerns. He lives the next lot over. I'm retired for many, many years. I lived on fixed income. I can't be hooking into the town water supply to get fresh water because it would probably cost me $50,000+, maybe more. And I just can't afford it on a fixed income, fixed pension. So like I hope my concerns are taken into consideration.
Thank you very much. Are there any other members of the public who wish to speak? Please come forward and take the mic.
I agree with everything he said.
Just for the record, state your name and for.
Bill Bertrand.
Thank you.
I agree with everything he said. And one big concern that I got, there's a cabin on that lake right now. And I don't know where the sewage goes to or the water. It's illegal. It's right on, like Gary said, it's right on the shore. And maybe somebody here can tell me who went down and had a look at it from here. Like what guy did you go? So nobody went from here to have a look at that place?
He's coming to council for the first time tonight.
Okay, so somebody should have maybe before this meeting, so we kind of give you a better idea what we're talking about. But there's a cabin right on the lake. There's nowhere that they can put in a septic field. And I don't know where they get the water from, whether they got a well or not. It's illegal, and who here even checks that?
Well, the staff, it would be the public health unit is.
Yes, the North Country Health Unit is responsible for permits relating to private sewage systems. So if there are concerns in that regard, they would be the agency responsible to look into that.
So maybe they should be before you even talk about this stuff. Because like I said, I don't know if there's a holding tank or what it is, but there's no way they got a septic field there. I live 2 doors away from him. And when I moved into my house, they said, oh, you got to be 200 feet from the water before you can put in a septic field. So what they did is they hauled truckload after truckload after truckload of fill so that I could have a septic field. And then put a buffer so that it wouldn't get into the lake. This thing is sitting right on the lake. So it's illegal right now, and it bothers me because I swim in that lake. My kids swim in that lake. Jerry gets his water from that lake. So this whole setup that they're trying to do, and I knew Al McLeod. I've been in his house lots of times. Like 2 garages that they want to make into apartments. Like it's half the size of this room. One of the garages. I don't know. It's going to look like more like a hotel than it is a residential place. And I think that maybe that's a way of putting in a hotel without having to pay the cost of it, because it doesn't look bigger than for one person. So that's what I say. Maybe somebody from here should go and have a look at this place and see what they're trying to do. I don't think it's feasible.
Thank you. Anything further?
No, that's it.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Any other members of the public who wish to speak? Seeing none. This concludes the public meeting regarding the official plan amendment number OP 03/2024 and zoning bylaw amendment number Z09/2024. If any member of the public wishes to be notified of the decision of council in respect to the application, you must make a written request to the planning coordinator. Notice to appeal the decisions of council to the Ontario Land Tribunal must be filed with the planning coordinator no later than 20 days from the date the notice of decision is circulated. The notice to appeal shall be sent to the attention of the planning coordinator, and it must include the following information: the reasons for the appeal and the fee as prescribed under the Ontario Land Tribunal Act in the amount of $1,100 each for the official plan amendment and zoning bylaw amendment, payable by certified check to the Minister of Finance, Province of Ontario. So we have options, council and staff. Given the objections, I think we will go to option 2. There are opposing comments. So the council receives the planning report dated September 18, 2024, respecting the official plan amendment number OP 03/2024 and zoning bylaw amendment number Z09/2024. And the council directs staff to prepare a subsequent planning report for the presentation to council at a subsequent council meeting that considers the feedback received at the September 18th, 2024 statutory public meeting. Moved by Councillor Lego, seconded by Councillor Bone. All in favor? Carried. Thank you. That bylaw number 82-24 being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of the council of the municipality of Sioux Code September 18th, 2024 statutory public meeting be read first, second, and third time and passed. Moved by Councillor Van Breda, seconded by Councillor Lego. All in favor? Carried. Thank you. That concludes the public meeting, and to be clear, this is being deferred based on input received for further consideration and a further report to council at a subsequent meeting. No decision has been made tonight in favor or against.
Will we be getting updates?
Here.
Thank you. Through your own, yes. So, pardon me. Please ensure that O'Hare has your contact information, and he will send, when council does make a decision, he will send you a copy of that decision. And if you wish further updates, you can make that request through OPAR as well. You know, if you want to know when the next council meeting where council is going to listen to the second report, we can certainly share that information with you, yes.
Well, what I was concerned about was the legality of that.
That part of the meeting is over, sir. That discussion is over, but you will be kept up to date through OPAR.
Okay, and there are reasons will be given.
Everything you said is in the record and will be considered by staff when they report back to council, and it'll be considered by council.
Okay, thank you. Can I leave?
Anytime, sir, you can stay. There's more coming. No. Doors open. All right, council, I'll call the regular council meeting of September 18th to order at 6 p.m. and I'd ask for any amendments to the agenda.
Few minutes.
And a motion to confirm the agenda for the regular council meeting of September 18th, 2024. Be approved as presented. Made by Councilor Lego, seconded by Councilor Bone, all in favor, carried. Pecuniary interest.
Through you, Mayor Bowles, I got one.
And motion to adopt minutes of the following meetings. August 13th, 2024, and September 5th, 2024, special council meetings, and August 14th, 2024, regular council meeting be approved as presented. Moved by Councilor Bone, seconded by Councilor Van Breda. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Carried. And a motion that the minutes of the May 24th, 2024, Board of Health meeting be received. Moved by Councilor Lego, seconded by Councilor Van Breda. Any discussion? All in favor? Carried. Determination of items requiring separate discussion. So we have 7.1 downtown revitalization, Front Street updated design in Centennial Park. Design concept. 7.2 deeming bylaw application 5 and 7 Carbone Drive. 7.3 deeming bylaw 86 3rd Street, 77 4th Street, and plan in 232 lot 200 in Hudson. 7.4 collective agreement 2024 to 2027. 7.5 2024 municipal operating budget to actual January to June. Councilor Hickman. 7.6 request for financial support.
Through you, Mayor, that needs to be lifted.
There's options there, so we will lift this. Thank you. Thanks, you. And that's the end of the items requiring separate discussion. So I have the ones that are lifted are 7.1, 7.5, and 7.6. A motion to adopt the items not requiring separate discussion, 7.2, 7.3, 7.4. Did I get that right? Yes. 7.2, 7.3, 7.4. Moved by Councilor Boone, seconded by Councilor Timpson. All in favor? Carried. Thank you. So 7.1. Downtown revitalization. CAO, help me. Am I going to put a motion on the floor? Or is it, Front Street updated design and Centennial Park Phase 1 design concept. That council approves the Phase 1 design concept for Centennial Park and the Front Street concept design as guidelines for future improvements. And further, the council directs staff to issue an RFP for engineering and design to estimate implementation expenses. And further, the council directs staff to seek suitable funding opportunities for the implementation of Centennial Park Phase 1 and present them to council as they arise. Moved by Councilor Van Breda, seconded by Councilor Timpson. Discussion.
Thank you. So I spoke with Councilor Pascal yesterday at the TRC community meeting. So I am in favor of approving this design, the Phase 1, because I see that the Phase 1, the scope has been toned down since the conceptual design. This is yes. Yeah, so I do see that the Phase 1 concept design, the scope has been toned down since the conceptual design. So again, no worries about this being a guideline for future improvements as indicated in the staff report. However, again, talking with Councilor Pascal as well, we would like this to be brought to the TRC committee for consultation and feedback. And just like a general note about Centennial Park, you know, at least for me, I do not want to rush this. I want to take our time. I want to be able to, we do have enough projects going on right now. Let's do this once, let's do it right. And so that then we can, we can be proud of Centennial Park. Let's ensure that all the stakeholders in the town do feel involved and they do feel their voice was brought to the table for this project.
Council. Council Baker.
Thanks for the report. For me, I would just accept the report as is and not go any further at this time. Again, we have a lot going on. Staff has a lot going on. I think this will be something for a bit down the road. Unfortunately, what I'm saying is I want to shelve this report until some future date. So I'm willing to accept the report as is, and that'll be it for me.
Councilor Bloom.
I agree with councilors Nagle and Rubio. I think it got the discussion going on what's wanted in the downtown core. James, we've seen another part of the ride in the last couple of days, and I agree there's some discussions with other groups that we should have before moving forward.
Councilor Gibson.
Yeah, it's not like it's gonna happen next year. It's, I think there'll be lots of time for discussion. I think it's a good idea to discuss it. But I think we should approve the report so we can get it moving, things moving, and then we can get into the discussion. I respect the TRC in a position that they should have some say in it. I think we have to move forward with it. And this the discussion will happen at the time, and anything is adjustable. If they once we get through this, we can adjust it as necessary.
Councilor Breeder.
I'd rather make adjustments to maybe a version 2 of the phase 1, right? With feedback, from the TRC, feedback from other agencies in town or other voices in town, and then come back to the council table and then get an RFP after, you know what I mean? Make sure that the RFP comes after that. So once the RFP comes in, take requests for proposals, this contractor wants to do it, perfect. But until then, just take our time. Just again, I will admit, I work right across from Centennial Park. When I talk to people, what they want is that they want nice, the most important things that we can do here right now is that they want nice, clean streets. That's what they want, nice, clean, safe streets. We can do that now. We can install maybe some benches, install maybe one of those new garbage cans we have at the town beach. Like those are projects that we can do right here, right now. But I am in favor of this. I do want this to go forward, but I don't want to bulldoze this through council. I just want to ensure that, everybody knows what's happening. Everyone sees a bit of the other voice. So maybe, I don't know, hopefully not a year from now, but hopefully in a few months from now, able to get a few voices in. But just my opinion is just this goes to the TRC committee before it goes forward.
I think what's being presented is concept designs as guidelines for future development. And the RFP is only seeking, it's not engineering design, it's just a review of the concepts and a cost estimate for this development. Am I correct? So this, I think we should go ahead with, this isn't going ahead with detailed design or request for a tender. This is still at the concept design level. It'll give us an idea of how much this particular concept costs. And then as we move forward, knowing that with input, if there's more input required, the concepts can be tweaked before the detailed design and tendering is done at some later date when we have an idea how much funding we need. By going ahead with this much, we'll be in the ballpark for, I don't, and perhaps staff can tell us roughly what is it $10,000, $20,000 to get the cost estimate. you'd have to tell us, but then we're a little bit closer to being ready to move ahead with the project and tweaking it. CIO, staff?
Few members, I suspect your estimate is within the realm of what it costs for, essentially, class C cost estimates. So I think that's reasonable, in terms of if that's what you're asking.
Okay, sure, that was one, and just to emphasize, we're not saying go ahead with this particular design. Let's put a price on it so we know what this costs, so that in the tweaking, we can say, oh, that was way too much, let's tweak it by cutting it in half, or maybe we can afford more. And then the tweaking is also some input from others. That's, so my take is accepted, but accepted as it's written, allowing, once, get an RFP for engineer, for the design, for the cost estimates. Councilor Bone.
So what is the cost of the RFP?
Well, I ballparked it at 10 to 20,000 in the CAO. This is a request for proposals for cost estimates, correct? It's not a tender for construction. So, staff, do you want to fill in any details? Is there anything that, any misunderstandings here?
So, one thing that, I just want to make sure that council, has seen in the report, that, if the, pardon me, if the intent is to accept the phase one design concept, that includes the elimination of parking on the south side of Front Street, to accommodate bicycle lanes. So if that is what council is approving today, it's important that we know that, because there are implications for that, given the work that we have just completed on Front Street. That staff does need an answer on today, whether or not you want bicycle lanes on Front Street.
I'll stick my nose out there as a longtime cyclist, although not doing so much this year for various physical conditions. I'm not so sure that Front Street is the place to continue the bicycle lanes. I would like us to continue with mixed use, like share the road signage. I think I don't think that, I think it should be mixed use, and the speed limit can be reduced. And pedestrians, cyclists, as well as vehicles respected. I think we still need that access, and I don't see, downtown is almost as if you've arrived at your destination if you're on a bicycle. It's not, it could be a route for cycling, but I think it should be a slowed down route. I'm all for bicycle lanes, but in those 2 or 3 downtown blocks, I think share the road should be signed and the principle put forward, my opinion. Council? Councilor Vincent.
Are we actually, like, if we do accept this, are we actually approving?
It's in the design, it's in the design concept, yeah.
Sorry, through you, Mayor Lawrence. So the work that has been done between 4th and 3rd Avenue is based on the designs that were done previously. So currently it has been designed for bicycle lanes. So I just need to know when line painters come to town next spring, whether I'm telling them to put bicycle lanes in or not. That's what I need an answer on.
Councilor.
Put a bicycle lane and they already removed the parking on that side, correct?
Yes, the challenge then is that we have a unidirectional bicycle lane then in town. It's only on the north side of the road. So you could only go from west to east. Sorry.
Would the parking be removed on the south side?
Yes, that's what.
Or does it come up underneath the subway zone? It's on the east, but it would just go on the south side?
Just prior to the subway, the bicycle lane disappears, and there's a sign that says share the road showing a cyclist and car. So the bicycle lane disappears prior to the underpass if you're coming into town.
We were to just continue it along the south side, under the subway up at Front Street.
I don't think there's room under the subway to have a bicycle.
That's the problem. That's why it had to be discontinued previously, and just that's where we put the first share of the road sign.
Councilor Labor.
I'll be a no on the bike lanes on Front Street.
Council. I'm also, honestly, I cycle and I cycle through town lots. I share the road and vehicles share the road. There's parking that goes on, there's car doors that are opening. You need to be careful both opening your car door in your car, there's pedestrians that are crossing. I think part of the future design will involve pedestrian crossings to make it more friendly. I think that would be should be included, but I think to me, I'm all for bicycle lanes, and I want, the bicycle lanes that we have to be extended on late when we finally do more on Wellington Avenue. There's a couple of blocks that are missing now, and it will be included there to join those bicycle lanes. I'd like to see when we finally do Alcona at some point, there'll be a bicycle lane there. But I think in the downtown core, I know in the downtowns of Toronto, Ottawa, I go there all the time. It's beautiful to see all these mixtures, but they've got streets that are quite a bit wider than ours, and they have a lot of sub building parking, etc. And they're trying to discourage in some ways vehicles from being in the city. We're not like that. We don't have a transit system that's bringing people into town. This is quite different. So I'm all for cycling, but I don't think that those few blocks in the downtown core are the place to eliminate parking and make the whole more complicated with bike lanes.
Yeah, there's 4 or 5 other streets that they can go along where they don't have cars that are parked, and I absolutely agree with you. It's just too busy down there for bikes.
When I want to bike through town, starting from my side of town, which is on the south side of the lakeshore, I come under the underpass and I come up 7th Avenue and I go up to King or Queen and cycle through that way up to wherever I'm going. I'll do Front Street as well, more on Saturdays and Sundays when it's quiet. But Councilor Van Breen.
This is a bit unrelated, but I remember when I lived in Sioux. I know that from King Street, from I think it's 4th Avenue to 5th Avenue, it says no biking, right? When you're going kind of down the hill.
Maybe on sidewalks, but not.
Okay, well, like there's a sign that says no biking when you're kind of going down the hill from like Catspot Brinting, Winks.
If that's referring to sidewalks, yeah.
Okay, because I used to bike there all the time. Someone said you can't bike there, and I'm like, yeah,
On the side.
yeah, on the side.
But just to be clear, I was just trying to keep it within the concept without having to move that, because then we're not going to accept the concept, and I'm really not in favor of even issuing an RFP at this time. Which there are a lot of projects, and a year from now, I don't think it'll be a huge difference. We still have this concept here, and we've spoken to the public. Maybe we wait till 2026 to revisit this and see how things go with the introduction of the new, bathroom, and see how things go from there.
Staff CAO, do you want to comment on the direction that you would like to get? You've talked about the bicycle lanes for line painting.
A few minutes. So I believe we will be adding a resolution or amending this resolution based on some of what I'm hearing around the table today. So we're prepared to do that. I'm a little unclear as to the nature and depth of additional consultation that's being sought. There was a community survey. The public has had an opportunity to provide input. So before staff can comment on whether before staff can recommend whether or not the resolution should be adopted as presented, I just need to understand a little bit better the scope of additional consultation that's being proposed.
Councilor Van Breen.
Sorry, I'll just be quick. So I'm going to vote yes. I do want this to go forward. I'm just saying, after this vote, can it just come to the TRC committee meeting? That was what myself and Councilor Cosgrove talked about yesterday. So personally, I'm voting yes. I'm not saying yes. Oops. We're done here. I'm saying yes, but please have it sent to the TRC committee for further consultation. That's what I'm saying. Sorry to make something more clear.
Few members, thank you, that's helpful. There were other comments about additional consultation. I just want to make sure that, again, if it's one committee we're consulting, that's one thing, but if it's broader than that, I just need to get a handle on that because. that is
To an update or it was that. So I think that's, I mean, I think it's proposed as this concept design as guidelines. So when it goes, if the TRC wishes to comment, they should keep that in mind, that we've had public consultation. And if they have some suggestions for within the guidelines that are there, you know, it's tweaking. I don't think it's an overhaul.
No, it'll stay, sorry, yeah.
Council, anything further before we listen to a resolution that's crafted for our consideration or amendments to the resolution, I should say? I mean, my take is there are some who wish to go ahead with, and the RFP is to seek costs for the project. Is one element. There seems to be a bit of disagreement. Can I ask the staff, how important is it to do that right now? Or in the coming?
Few members, as council's aware, without costing, then we also can't do the next, which is look for potential funding. Unless we know the cost, we don't know what programs we're going to be eligible to apply to. So if we don't want to seek costing estimates at this time, if council does not wish to seek costing estimates at this time, that's fine. But that just means that the project is literally shelved because staff will not be looking for funding opportunities for a project that we don't have costs on.
Councilman.
Would it be better to defer this until all councilors are here? I just, the way things are going at the table right now with 5 of us here, I don't know if any of this would pass or not.
If there's a desire to withdraw and defer to a future meeting, that is certainly council's, that's at council's discretion.
Councilor Timpson.
I think we should go ahead. I support it. Yeah, I agree. We should be consulting with TRC. We should have some very interesting comments. I think if we delay it any further, we delay it 2 years. 2 years means 4 years, and 4 years we're going to be just as busy. And I think we have to move ahead and when we can. And so therefore, I support us going ahead tonight with the changes that we suggested.
One of them, I see it. Yes, okay. CAO, why did you put some amendments out there? I guess the first thing is to get the amendments accepted by the movement.
A few minutes, that's correct. So the revised resolution reads that council approves the phase 1 design concept for Centennial Park and the Front Street design, and the Front Street concept design, less the bicycle lanes, as guidelines for future improvements. And further, the council directs staff to issue an RFP for costing to estimate implementation expenses. And further, that council directs staff to seek suitable funding opportunities for the implementation of Centennial Park Phase 1 and present them to council as they arise. And further, that council directs staff to obtain input from the municipal TRC.
Could I ask just for the insertion of Class C costing in measure? Class C is based on concepts, not on detailed design, and it's I don't think it would be influence. Councilor Timpson.
I just want to add one comment to what I said. We delayed it. This was delayed in 2010, and here we are in 2024, 14 years later, looking at it. And we want it to be 2050 before it comes back. I don't think so.
So if there's nothing further, then there's mover, Councilor Van Breda, do you accept the amendments? CIO, then the next would be to call, I can call the vote and just, if we don't have to go to the second. Council Boyd,
If I just want clarification on the second paragraph on costing.
Yes, so Senior Lawrence, it would now read that council directs staff to issue an RFP for Class C costing to estimate implementation expenses.
So that's what it would cost us $10,000 to $20,000 on that line.
Potentially.
anything further, council? All in favor? Carried. Seven point five, the council receives the 2020, thanks, Don. The council received the 2024 municipal operating budget to actual update as outlined in the treasurer's report dates number 18, 2024. Receiving the update, moved by Councillor Lego, seconded by Councillor Bowman. Discussions, Councillor Lego.
Hey, it's gonna pull up my screen here. I believe it's on. Page 2. For bylaw. It says that we only use 17% of the budget. Is there reasons for that or?
Through you, Mayor Lawrence, it's not until the third quarter of the year that we start receiving payments that we have to produce for the POAs to Dryden. So that's where the majority of the payments fall within our quarter year.
And also under that one, contracted services. Nothing has been used out of that budget line yet.
Through you, Mayor Lawrence. Yes, that's the same thing. It's the POA that has to do with Dryden.
Second, page 3, economic development, is that 80% in the first 6 months. Now, was this sort of a miscalculation of what funding was going to be needed for the EDO or?
No, through you, Mayor Lawrence, what occurred was the municipality was delayed in receiving some invoices from 2023 that we had been requesting from a contractor, and we didn't receive them until late of 2024. And so because of this, that's why the budget looks the way it does.
Money wasn't put in there in the budget, but we knew that we hadn't paid those invoices.
We ended up paying those invoices.
Yeah, but I mean, like, we knew we had to pay those invoices, but we didn't put
We
any
didn't
money in.
know, we didn't know the dollar value of it,
Okay.
and we assumed at the time that we had accounted for everything, but there was some additional costs that came in.
Thank you. Page 5, information and technology. Again, we use 30% of the projected budget. Just under the equipment line at 21%. Is there other equipment that we'll be looking at purchasing this year?
Yeah, so through you, Mayor Lawrence, a lot of our equipment was delayed due to the budget process. So now that we knew that the budget was passed in June, most of those expenses or most of those equipment have been purchased or at least placed on order for them to arrive within the last half of the year.
Thank you very much. Councilor.
Page 2, community transportation. User fees 107,414. Currently sitting at 9,358. Is the government funding get put into that at some point or?
Yeah, through you, Mayor Lawrence, we're just delayed a little bit in receiving some of the funding from the agency in regards to this, but it will be coming in this year.
Okay, and then just one final question. We didn't elevate the increases for non-union, but has that been put in? Did you add the increases for the latest collective agreement to June?
Yeah, through you, Mayor Lawrence, that was discussed in closed with council when council gave direction on what they wanted as an increase within the budget. So that's accounted for. The retro pay hasn't been paid out yet.
It shows on the actual, it shows it being.
So no,
That's not there yet.
yeah, no, that's not yet there yet, only because council just approved the new agreement tonight. So now that the new agreement has been passed by council tonight, the staff within the finance department can start working on the retro, which will show up in actuals in the November statement that you receive.
40 to 45%. Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Any further, council? Thank you. And I'll call a vote to receive the actual, the budget to actual update. All in favor? Carried. Thank you. Thank you, staff. 7.6, the council respecting requests for financial support received by delegations at the July regular council meeting. A, defers the request to the 2025 budget, which at such time they will be reviewed with any other donation requests. This would be consistent with council's determination during the 2024 budget process that the municipality was not in a position to provide such cash contributions in 2024. Or B, council approves the two requests and suggests and such requests be funded from the unused 2022 budget surplus. So I'm not going to put a motion on the table for the two to be considered. To staff, want to speak to these two options first?
Once, I think they're fairly self-explanatory. If council wishes to proceed with the donations, there is a way to fund them in 2024. If council wishes to defer them to 2025, that's also an option.
Council.
I went back and forth on this quite a bit, but I believe that as council, we should stick to what we've set out for in 2024. I think if we change course, that puts everyone on their heels. We've had a lot of people ask for donations this year, and we've refused them all. I don't mind providing the foundation with a guarantee for their ask, but for me, that would be in 2025, 26, and 27. So if that assuages their fears that the municipality doesn't want to be on board, I think the municipality does want to be on board, but we need to stick with what we set out. Otherwise, again, it makes council look bad and it makes staff look bad if we're changing course when we refuse so many already.
Thank you, council. Councilor Van Green.
I know that this is kind of going beyond the ARB, but I'm in favor of the food bank going towards the 2025 budget. I think the MRI, because it's a much bigger picture. And I do believe that when they're here in the July meeting, that they are looking for almost, I think that they're looking for a commitment in money this year so that then they can go to the surrounding communities and say, Sioux Lookout committed 25,000 this year, 24, 25, 26. So hopefully by 2026, we actually have shovels in the ground. When we actually have shovels in the ground ready to go. Really hope so. But personally, I would like the MRI campaign that we come out with a decision tonight to the foundation saying that, again, the MRI campaign is a much bigger picture than, let's say, for example, the other donations that came earlier this year, but the food bank, I do agree with Councilor Mayo, can go to the 2025 budget, but for the MRI, I would vote that it comes from the unused 2022 budget surplus.
Councilor
Sorry, I was just talking about the MRI.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't talking about the food bank because I know on the food bank as well.
Sorry, didn't hear the rest.
Oh, I thought we were just going to do the MRI first. I didn't state anything about the food bank, but if we're going to state about, I'm a no on the food bank. I don't think we should be setting precedent to be giving back property sales money back to groups. I think that just sets up the municipality for more and more people to ask for that. I think there's other options for the food bank to go down putting in an application with the CIP to get some money. So.
So yes, or not, yes.
I agree with everybody, everything. It's a difficult decision. I think it's 6 of one, half a dozen of the other that we're going to be making the donations anyways, whether we do it now or in 2025. I guess that's the issue. I mean, I do think we have to stick to what we decided, unless we have any information. We don't have any new information, and it's a difficult one, but it might be better to say cloak it in something else.
So can thanks, I agree with Councilor Ness. But I agree with Councilor Lego. I'm firmly opposed to council flip-flopping. Make a decision based on information and we've made the decision. And made the decision on the 2024 budget. And I think we need to stick to it because I think the door then, how many people have we said no to that are going to come back knocking on the door, and rightly so. I just don't think that's the door that we should open. However, if council is supportive of MRI, then my question would be the 2022 surplus, which we know the totality of it, the definite, that can still be available in 2025. Is that correct? If we don't use it prior?
Through you, Mayor Lawrence, that is correct. We will be bringing the surplus again back to council for discussion once the reserve and the reserve fund policy has been approved by council. So at that time, we can look at earmarking a certain amount of that specifically, let's say, for donations or items otherwise.
And constantly, please slap my wrist and tell me, how much commitment can we make for 2025 before we actually do? Can we say, well, we will have the 2022 surplus to consider for this in 2025, committing it to this donation?
Yes, that's certainly within council's purview. Ultimately, council will decide how to allocate the surplus. If council chooses to allocate all but say 30,000 of the surplus in 2024, then there will be 30,000 remaining, or 40, or however much for 2025, and then staff would again bring that in 2025 and ask how council wishes to allocate the remainder.
And in a way, that's almost a separate discussion. Is what does council? There might be other options. So where do we want to put the surplus? I also think that the important point for the MRI is that Sioux, that if the municipality is supporting it, other communities, or I personally, I don't think it matters to them whether we say 2024, 2025. If Sioux is putting in 25,000, 50,000, 75,000 into the MRI, period. That's what matters. I think not the year we're doing it. The other municipalities aren't going to come up with 25,000 or 12,000 if they come up with anything. This fiscal year is going to be next year or the year after as well. And that's to me that I can't speak for the hospital, so I'm not going to say anything, but we have to make our own decisions and stick to them. As for I agree with Councillor Lego. I first work with the food bank. It's not a conflict of interest. I am a volunteer there. But I also have always want to resist when we are such a service community and we are selling land to social service agencies or agencies that are doing good things, and they're always scrambling to get money. But we're always scrambling to get money too, and we don't get taxes from the hospital. We have high costs here. We don't have a big industrial commercial sector. I'm always opposed to giving our land away. We need to be paid for the land because we're not being paid for so many other things. However, that doesn't mean to say we can't make an explicit donation to an agency such as the food bank in another way from surplus in 2025. Is my take. Councilor Bone.
It's pretty well consensus is the MRI is very important. I don't think they're gonna say no if we say we want to start making payments in 2025. As far as going back on what we agreed in April. I agree with everyone here that we shouldn't be doing that. When the new year comes, we can discuss how much, if it's available, do we want to put out for these groups that come to us, whether it's entertainment series or skiing club or the food bank, and just set a certain amount and have maybe an application process, and if that amount runs out, then our first one the following year. That's stuff for further discussion, but I think it's for 2025. That includes the food bank's request for the monies that municipality has made from sale of people also.
Would the food bank fall within any category under the CIP? If they put in an application, you know, offhand?
Lawrence, most CIP is about redevelopment and sort of improving existing. Because they're building a new building, they may be eligible with respect to the tax increment grant. That would likely be the one area they'd be eligible for. Sorry, I don't have a CIP in front of me, so I don't have all the programs in front of me.
I did that with M&R, like the Mitch Wills, he had applied for his new development.
Intensification.
Oh, okay.
That was an intensification, or yeah, straight, yeah.
Anything further, Council? So staff, help me here.
Sure, through you, Mayor Lawrence, my recommendation based on my interpretation of council's discussion would be that council adopt or authorize the motion based on item option A with us and further a second part to the motion that could read that council directs staff to provide a letter to the Sioux Health Center Foundation committing the municipality to a total funding commitment of $75,000 towards the MRI campaign beginning in 2025.
That, I think, would go a long way to helping them show the government and other municipalities that looks like we have consensus for that. Councilor.
Do we know the exact amount yet for the 2022 surplus?
Through Mayor Lawrence, yes, it's approximately 220,000. Is that correct? I'm looking to the treasurer to confirm that, but I'm pretty sure that's what it is.
Through you, Mayor Lawrence, off the top of my head, it's been a while since I've looked at it. I do believe that it's somewhere around that range. Yeah.
In the 200,000 range.
Yeah.
So we've added it. And that's for the food bank. We're just, this is a no at this time and looking for other.
Well, at this point, if we go with option A, it's that they will be considered as part of the 2025 donation request. Yeah. And they would also be notified about that.
Very good. With the, we didn't have a mover, we don't have a motion yet. So why don't you read the motion? We're going to move into
Certainly, through your Lawrence, that council respecting the request for financial support received by delegations at the July regular council meeting defers the request to the 2025 budget, at which time they will be reviewed with any other donation requests consistent with council's determination during the 2024 budget process that the municipality was not in a position to provide such cash contributions in 2024. And further, that council directs staff to provide a letter to the Sioux Government Health Center Foundation committing the municipality to a total a funding commitment of $75,000 towards the MRI campaign beginning in 2025.
Moved by Councillor Timpson, seconded by Councillor Van Breda. Any final discussion? All in favor? Carried. Thank you. Bylaws. So these all still apply, and do we have any additional?
Even once know there were no nothing carried forward from such a public meeting today.
Bylaw number 75-24, being a bylaw to authorize the mayor and clerk and the municipal management negotiation committee to execute a collective agreement between the Corporation of the Municipality of Silicote and the Canadian Union of Public Employees, CUPE, and its local 2141, and to rescind bylaw number 27-21. Bylaw number 78-24, being a bylaw to deem the lots located at 5 Carbone Drive and 7 Carbone Drive not to be within a registered plan of subdivision. Bylaw number 83-24, being a bylaw to deem the lots located at 86 3rd Street Hudson, 77 4th Street Hudson, and Plan M232, Lot 200, Parcel 19-895, not to be within a registered plan of subdivision. That bylaws number 75-24, 78-24, and 83-24 be read first, second, and third time and passed. Moved by Councillor Dago, seconded by Councillor Bowen. All in favor? Carried. Thank you. Councillor reports. Councillor Bowen, looking at you, sir.
And a couple of attended special council meetings, September 5th and September 12th. And the committee adjustment meeting for minor variance and consent. September 17th, also had 2 or 3 meetings with IT Chris Pollard just to discuss the glitches with Granicus. And I also had a quick meeting with the mayor. It's basically my month.
Thank you. Councillor Tips.
And I'm sure that I reported on the KDMA meeting at last in August, but anyhow, we did at the last KDMA meeting, we did discuss with Western Insurance about a sort of a collective approach to insurance for municipalities in Kenora. And I had some fairly lengthy discussions with the CAO about this, and are a little bit concerned about moving too fast on this. So it will be discussed again tomorrow at KDMA about how to proceed with if the municipalities were to proceed with this approach. I did about 3 greetings of local medical doctors, and it's actually it's very pleasant. It's a very pleasant thing to do. They're always very friendly and happy to have somebody come and talk to them from the town. And 3 of us, CAO, the mayor, and myself, we met with 4 very delightful medical students from Nauset who were so excited to be there and just delighted at the little bags of goodies we gave them. And so hopefully, we don't know if this is making any difference. We do have a new doctor starting in town, and we will be meeting with another doctor coming next month, or rather coming to check out Silicote. So myself and the mayor would like to be there. So the agencies are working very hard at recruiting, and there seems to be some breakthroughs in getting doctors here. So I'd like to think, I had something to do with it, but I really didn't, because none of the people I've talked to have actually come after. It's the people that I have been recruited through another source have come. So anyway, special council meetings, RMC, and library board meeting. We have a new CEO, or interim CEO, I should say. who is actually the daughter of the librarian who was here 35 years ago when they moved from the old building to the new building. So it's very interesting, and she'll be here until, at least until the end of the maternity leave of the permanent CEO. So, yeah, that was my month.
Thank you. Councilor Van Buren.
Thank you. Pretty short one, too. I attended the community conversations about housing at the Sioux area senior center. Went very well. A good talk about future housing and what things could look like around here. Attended the special council meeting on the 5th and 12th. Yesterday, we had the TRC committee meeting. And then also I attended the kayaking for new members of the community with Pembroke Commerce. Commerce was actually a lot of fun. Nice kayaks they have at the town beach. I sat down, I was the first one to sit in the kayak. So that's how much they're used. It went very well. Everyone seemed to have a lot of fun, and yeah, everyone wants to go kayaking. Now I can say I've gone on it. They're nice kayaks. I say, Doug, good job today in the article in this with Sioux Bolton about the mental health and addictions crisis in the area. Had some very good words about that. I also want to say the new washroom that the Centennial Park looked very nice. I was talking to the Urban Blue guys, they're very, very nice guys too. Looks very well. I think that it's going to be a welcomed improvement for everybody in the area as well. And they said they'll be up and ready on Friday. Are we having a grand opening or anything, or we're just gonna open it up and just whoever wants to be? Give me the first one. I'll make sure to drink extra milk that morning.
Thank you. Councilor.
Yeah, I just attended the two special council meetings and LCC, local citizens committees, back after the summer break. So we accepted the new chair for the remainder of the next few years, and had a couple of brief updates on the caribou forest and Laxo forest. Looks like the caribou forest has planted over 1 million trees this summer. So looks good.
Very good, thank you. I've had KDSV, we had 2 governance committee meetings. There's a few things we're working on to present to the board tomorrow, I guess. CAO and I attended AMO, and you've seen a few reports on that in the papers and some follow-up. We've had follow-up from the Solicitor General's office several times. And then next week, we're having some visitors from the Solicitor General's office based on our AMO visit. So it's good. It's positive. We also had a commitment from the Minister of Long-Term Care, self-commitment, said to us that she would come to Sioux Lookout. And Saul Manquay was in the room as well with us. We're pursuing them for that, but no word yet. Although she is a new minister, relatively new. Northwest Health Unit met with the MPs twice, once just with Eric Malillo and CEO and I, and that was on food programming and food program funding for schools, trying to there are some federal programs that we're trying to get his help on. And then met with Eric Malillo and Marcus Poloski, MP from Thunder Bay, on something similar, trying to seek both their help. And our MP's been very, very cooperative with us, working with us on that. So on video call, Northwestern Health Unit, we've had board meetings, executive committee meetings, and others. Met with the CAO various times on various things. We had the Ontario Health Team Executive Council meeting last week, and we're trying to set that up to be regular meetings. We now have an employee, a new executive lead, and looking at engaging 2 other employees and trying to figure out how this hub concept for our Ontario Health Team is going to move forward. 3 hubs being Red Lake, Dryden, and Sioux Lookout. It's all still very formative, in my opinion. Special council meetings we've all been to. Physician greetings attended one last week. I'm not sure about others, but Councillor Simpson's wrong. she is instrumental in attracting physicians to Sioux. And it's, even if the one that you're talking to is, what I heard from the two last week was the same, that Sioux is a preferred destination. It's talked, it's well spoken of by other physicians. Why were those two here last week? I asked them. They're locums, not students. Because, well, one of them had been here in 1998 and is coming back, but it's Sioux is highly spoken of in the physician world. They want to come here. So what we need to do is get the hooks in and keep them here. But Council Timpson, you are playing a role here. Kenora KBSB traveled to Kenora yesterday. Minister Calandra, who's now the Minister of Municipal Affairs and Housing, and Minister Rickford were there. It was the opening of a 56 unit seniors apartment building. It's mixed use. It's market rent, rent geared to income, and affordable rent. A mix of studio, I think 12 studio apartments, which is basically a bathroom with a combined bedroom, kitchen, living room, all in one. They're just small, and 1 bedrooms and 2 bedrooms. And they're looking at actually perhaps putting some hospice units into that as well. It's a model that I think we could do with here and maybe on a different scale, but talking to KSB about that. And then today, the CAO and I met with Inspector Duggan, who was here filling in for Inspector Dool, who was on another assignment. Inspector Duggan will be here for at least 3 months, and we just had an unofficial casual meeting prior to our detachment board meeting next week. That was my month. And now we're going to go into closed session at 6:55 p.m. to discuss matters of general nature, subject matter relating to a position, plan, procedure, criteria, or instruction to be applied to any negotiations carried on or to be carried on by or on behalf of the municipality or local board pursuant to the Municipal Act 2001 as amended, section 239 2K, one item partnership opportunity, and subject matter relating to a proposed acquisition of disposition of land by the municipality pursuant to the Municipal Act 2001 as amended, section 239 2C, one item municipal buildings. Mover to go into closed session. Councilor Timpson, second by Councilor Lego, all in favor, carried. We'll now go into closed session, and shall we take a 10-minute break? Yep. And report out from closed session. Is there anything to ratify?
Two more ones, the motion agrees that council ratifies direction given to staff in closed session, respecting the partnership opportunity and municipal buildings.
Moved by Councilor Van Breda, seconded by Councilor Gibson, all in favor. Carried, thank you. And bylaw number 81-24, being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of the council of the municipality of Sioux, September 18, 2024. Regular council meeting be read a first, second, and third time and passed. Moved by Councilor Lego, seconded by Councilor Bone, all in favor. Carried, thank you very much. Good night at 7:45 PM.